Good morning, Coach. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Good morning, Sean, RJ.
Have you been playing basketball outside in this weather already? Are you chuckling at the rest of us here in DFW with these temperatures?
No, did a little Christmas shopping last night with my girls, and I'll tell you, I don't miss this weather, that's for sure. It's frigid out there. My goodness.
Okay. Do you hate shopping, as I would imagine you do?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've never been a shopper, period. And then, but when you have children, you gotta make sure they buy gifts for their mother, and it's all part of parenting responsibility. So I was a good parent last night.
Nice.
That was some procrastination, though.
It was.
That was waiting late in the game to get the gifts, Coach.
Well, I usually don't go until the 23rd, so I was actually a day early. We were supposed to go last week, but my Gabrielle was under the weather, so we pushed it off to this week.
Can you walk around without getting stopped? Can you walk around freely anywhere?
Well, I mean, I'm not out there very often, so yeah. I mean, last night there wasn't a whole lot of people, out shopping where I was, so it worked out great.
And you wrap your own presents, or do you just go in a bag?
Absolutely not. No. Absolutely not.
Okay.
I think when you pay enough for your gifts, they should wrap them.
Oh,
That's my method.
Yeah,
Big dog. He don't walk in unless there's security at the front door. There's those jewelry shops, those bag places.
That's right. Absolutely.
Right.
All right, Coach. I don't know if you saw last night the Thursday night game, but like Zach Wilson has just not played well this year, and they're ready to run him out of town. Like, what as a coach, like when do you think it's too soon to make a judgment on a quarterback?
Well, I think it's definitely too soon for where Zach's in his career. I mean, it's you're talking about the hardest position in probably professional sports to play, in my opinion. So, it's a process, and I think just like anything in this league, every player, regardless of the position, but it's definitely heightened at the quarterback position. Everyone has a different starting line. So you have a starting line, and then obviously what around you and how your team's built is part of it. And I think the best thing for any quarterback in this league is consistency at the coordinator's position is a huge part of it, and healthy defense, running the ball, and so you look at all those things. But I haven't sat here and I've seen Zach in some of the cut-ups, but I don't have an opinion on him specifically. But I would be very patient. I'm patient with young quarterbacks. That's my opinion.
What tends to take longer to click, Coach? Is it just understanding X's and O's, schemes? Is it just a maturity thing? Like in your experience with developing and being with a lot of guys, what kind of comes later in the process for most?
Well, I think in my history in the NFL, these young men are exposed to a lot more schematically in college football than 20, 30 years ago. Back in the 90s when you brought a quarterback in from college, the majority of them have never been in the gun. They spend their whole time under center, handing the ball off to the halfback at 7 yards deep and play action pass, and then the drop back phase of it was a little bit foreign to them. They didn't have a lot of reps in that. That was kind of the norm, unless you took a quarterback out of BYU or somewhere out there in the West. But now it's completely opposite. I mean, you have quarterbacks that never called a play in the huddle. You have quarterbacks that never been under center. So I mean, it's a whole different component of it. So my point is, so schematically, I think these guys are exposed to more scheme and more wide openness in their college training than prior years. But you look at the training. I mean, shoot, the training that you have with your team in a structured environment is probably down 30-40% compared to 10, 15 years ago since the new CBA and so forth. So those things add up. That's real. So that's why when I see quarterbacks and receivers getting together in Miami and just doing all those other workouts, that you have to have that. I mean, that because you have to fill in the void of the time that you're able to work together. And the reality of it is, when you are able to work together, it's in a very controlled, non-competitive environment, which because of other reasons, from the league. But I think all those things are a little bit part of it. So I think you have to look at that stuff, and they obviously drafted him there for a reason. And I just think you got to be patient.
Mike McCarthy joining us here on 105.3 The Fan. This game, without Jalen Hurts playing, with Gardner Minshew starting, how do you guys judge yourself, against this? This could be like a game where it's not a statement game, but you're using it as a litmus test as how good you guys are against the best team in the NFC. How does that change with the quarterback being out and a backup in?
Well, I mean, it's so different than when we went up earlier in the year. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still the Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, that's the way you got to always look at it. That's the way we approached it in the first game. So, it's a different time of year. There's different things at stake now. So they obviously feel really good. They're extremely confident football team right now. So that's all part of the challenge. I don't think it's any different because who the quarterback is, especially in December. So, at the end of the day, we're focused on ourselves. Our commitment is the perception of how we perceive ourselves, and it's really our reality. So, we just want to win. We're going out there to win, and just take a step forward, get a chunk of confidence that comes with this victory, and then move on to the next one because we obviously know the next one's right around the corner.
Last week you said, the uncommon opponent can be a little bit of a pain in the butt prep-wise. Does that same thing apply for Minshew instead of Hurts? Just going back to the week one homework that you can take from, do you have to do like a whole bunch of new homework for Minshew and create a lot more work for yourself?
Well, I think the biggest thing with uncommon opponents is, I think when you change the quarterback position, you may get a few more uncommon concepts than you normally would, as far as playing against Jalen. I think when you play against an offense that's firing on all cylinders, they're not doing a whole lot of different. You're getting more variations, of their base concepts, so that your focus is a little more there. I mean, there's a little bit of the unknown with the quarterback change, and that's all part of it. And I think just having a good understanding of who he is and how he plays, and how we feel he's going to play in this system. But it's we still have to stop the run. I mean, you look at this game on both sides of it. I mean, the run game is the run, the protection, and the pass. I would say run defense and run offense are huge priorities for both football teams.
Coach, outside the building, you look on these TV shows and, fans and social media, the sky's falling. Even though, you win some games, the sky's still falling. Like, inside the building, like, how do you all look at the last 3 to 4 weeks? Is it we've been playing not to our level, or, hey, we still won some games, that's the end result's all that matters?
Well, the sky's not falling. I mean, I don't view it that way at all. But I mean, I think really it's part of our journey. I mean, the journey in the regular season is what sharpens you for the postseason, and we've crossed that threshold of getting in. Now we're still fighting, for the potential of the number one seed. I mean, that's still a focal point, but it's really secondary. I mean, our goal is to learn from last week. We have some moving parts because of injuries. We've had injuries the last 3 weeks, and they're in-game injuries. In-game injuries are different than, injuries that you're able to practice all week and overcome. So our young players are ready for this. We're confident in them, and they need to step up. The biggest thing for me is my focus is to go win the game, and then and hopefully over this 3-game stretch, we can stay in the same defensive personnel and offensive personnel, and just continue to get the continuity and connection that you need going into the playoffs. So, injuries aren't an excuse, but it has been part of our journey in these last couple of weeks. Yeah,
we've been focusing on the injuries with the defense. J-Ron was pretty honest the other day about the defense, saying, hey, earlier in the year it was unthinkable we give up 500 yards or lose that lead to Jacksonville. What else is concern you, Coach, or what else are some things that you think you need to clean up defensively, even though injuries have impacted that side?
Well, I just think just staying in tune with what's right in front of you, and that's all you need to do. We have a responsibility to always go back and give opinions on evaluations outside the building, but it's really that's just part of your job description. Your external job description. Internally, we're just dialed into our fundamentals, our techniques, and how we're going to beat this football team, and that's really all that matters. And it's simple, and it's that simple. And because when you don't make it that simple, you're wasting energy, emotional, mental, and physical, on things that don't have nothing to do with winning. And that's just really, that's the message, and that's how we operate.
Did you deliver all the Pro Bowl news to the guys? We heard Turpin had the most surprising reaction with Jerry. Did you deliver all the news to the guys? Any reactions stand out?
No, actually, Jerry, he delivered all the news. So I talked to him after it, so he was excited, and but yes, he delivered the news with phone call.
Coach, there's been a lot of talk about the second corner spot. Dan Quinn saying, "Hey, let's open up some competition here." How are you feeling about that second corner spot? And can you do a lot of things defensively to help over on that area if you have some inexperience with the injuries you've dealt with? How are you viewing that spot opposite of Diggs now?
Well, that's it's part of what I said earlier. If we can just get into the flow of playing with the same personnel groups the next couple of weeks, I think that'll serve us well. And obviously it'll be different this week than it was last week. So like I said, we've had a limited practice week just because being a day short. But I think our combinations of how we're going to play are set to go.
And then, Coach, yesterday we saw that Sam Williams was involved in an accident. Didn't sound like it was too serious. Any update you can give us on how Sam is doing physically?
Just all the communication last night. I'm told Sam is fine, but we'll see him this morning here in a little bit. So I have not talked to the trainers this morning yet.
All right, Coach, we'll let you get to your meeting. Thank you so much. As always, we know you probably doubted whether we would be here on a holiday show today, but we're showing up for work, getting ready for Philly. Thank you for the time.
Oh, no, you guys are grinders. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, Coach.